question. What does your CEO think about sales? Well, we're going to hear from a CEO today, get inside his head and try and figure out how do CEOs look at the magical, mystical world of sales on today's episode of The Buyer's Mind.
Welcome to The Buyer's Mind, where we take a closer look deep inside your customer's decision-making mechanism to reverse engineer the perfect sales presentation. Now, please welcome your host, Jeff Shore.
Well, welcome everyone once again to The Buyer's Mind. I am your host, Jeff Shore, and this is the podcast where we try and figure out what's going on in the head of the people who are thinking about making a purchase decision. We believe strongly on The Buyer's Mind that if you understand the way that somebody wants to buy, that you can craft your sales presentation to make it easy for them to do just that. And that is what we want to do. We want to make it easy for our customers to buy. Of course, everybody loves sales. We know that sales provide the revenue that fuels the machine, and nothing happens in any organization until a sale gets made. But today we want to look at it from the perspective of the CEO, of the boss man, and how those who run the place feel about sales. I'm joined, as always, with our show producer, Paul Murphy. Paul, your boss is a gentleman by the name of Wade Mayhew. He is our executive vice president here at Shore Consulting. And let's be honest, he basically runs the place, right? I mean, I've got the title on the door, but I think you and I can agree Wade basically runs the place.
He is the guy who cracks the whip. There is no doubt, but I got a lot of respect for him. He's pretty amazing.
He is. Here's the question for you. Wade is responsible for so many different things. Do you have any idea how he does as much as he does? How he can really look at everything all at once? Because to me, it just looks like he'd have a massive headache.
You know, I'm always impressed because he's got his fingers in so many different things, both creatively, design-wise, as well as all the business details. I have no idea how he does it.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I just know that I have to have him in that role because I couldn't do it. But I know that even though he is looking at so many different things, he remains focused on what really matters. And what really matters is sales. He gets it. And that is what great CEOs do, right? People who run the company, the people in charge there, they focus on what counts. And the great CEOs know firsthand that if you don't got sales, you don't got nothing. And on today's interview, you're going to hear from a CEO who truly gets it. Doug Bauer is the CEO of the $3 billion company, the TriPointe Group. And this guy loves sales. Let's talk to Doug Bauer for a CEO's view on sales. All right. Well, listen, hey, here on The Buyer's Mind, we love to have true experts to be able to chat about how we approach our customers, how we work with our customers, and what that convergence is between our sales professionals, sales executives, and with the buyers who are purchasing. And so, what's really, really cool is when you have the opportunity who has to take the 30,000-foot view on that and get a really good strategic sense. And so from time to time, I love to bring on somebody who's calling the big shots, the CEOs of companies. And we've got the CEO of a huge company right now, the TriPointe, a group of companies. Please welcome to The Buyer's Mind, Doug Bauer. Doug, how you doing, sir?
I am doing great. Thanks, Jeff, for having me on. Appreciate it.
No. Hey, I've been looking forward to it for a long time. We go way back, and we've had the opportunity to work together in the past. And I just think it's going to be great especially for our frontline sales executives who are listening to this podcast to get a sense of the way that CEOs think. But in particular, CEOs who are, shall we say, sales friendly, right? Sometimes we run into senior executives who see sales as something of a necessary evil. That's never really been your thing. You've always seen sales as an integral part of what it is that we do, recognizing that if you don't have revenue, you don't have much of an operation. Where did that start for you? When did it sort of click in for you that, man, we got to make sure that the sales thing is done right?
Well, I guess I'll have to divulge some personal information about Doug. My passion for sales probably comes from my family DNA. Jeff doesn't know this. Jeff and I have known each other for over 20 years and done a lot together. But my family my dad, my brother, my cousins, everybody was a salesperson. And as a matter of fact, when I got out of University of Oregon, IBM already had a job lined up for me. And I'm like, I don't want to be in sales. I want to be in finance. I need to understand numbers. So I think part of my DNA, and oh, by the way, I did sell men's sportswear at Nordstrom. So, the DNA in me is really driven by sales personally, but obviously also professionally, because without sales, we don't have anything in the housing business.
So you got recruited by IBM. That was like at the time, especially those were the big boys of sales. That was like, if you really wanted a sales career, that was where you were going to go. And you turned it down.
I turned it down because I really wanted to get a handle on the financial end of business. And so I actually got into banking, and eventually, we're not going to interview Doug for his career, but I got into home building. And there's nothing more important in home building than your customers. And it starts at the front line with the sales and all the way through the closing and then beyond the closing. So I'm very passionate about sales, and I've had a big teacher, Mr. Jeff Shore, has taught me that for over 20 years.
Appreciate the kind words, Doug. Thank you very much. I'll buy you dinner later on. When we think about that, though, you're in an interesting situation, because when you take CEO types of multifaceted organizations, because for you happen to be in the home building industry, which means you're looking at land acquisition, you're looking at the financials, you're looking at about Wall Street reporting, HR, all of this different stuff that has to come across your desk. And then you somehow have to keep a sales first mindset. Is that difficult at times? Because how do you keep your priorities straight? How do you know what to focus on at any given point in time?
Well, that's a good question. And actually, someday I'll pass away, and my wife would like to have somebody analyze my brain because it's so compartmentalized. So that's probably the key word. I have been blessed with a mind that can compartmentalize this business, and I moved from one compartment in my mind to the next. And to your point, any day we'll have a myriad of inputs and potential decisions, from land to people to operations to customers to investors. This week I'm going to deal with investors in Boston. So I just have an ability to put it in compartmentalize it. But most importantly, have fun. Put a smile on your face and enjoy it. If you're not passionate about anything you're doing, obviously I always tell everybody, be passionate. If you're not passionate, go find something else to be passionate about. But I've been blessed to be in this industry for 30 years, so I'm highly passionate about what we do, and most importantly, what we do with the customer.
More CEOs than most of our listeners. You run in that circle. When you look about having fun, I think a lot of people look at the idea of the CEO is the head honcho, is the guy who is not having fun. In fact, is sitting there wearing a suit jacket all day long, and he's got a stack of gold coins that he counts for fun over here on the side. But that's about as close to fun as you get. Otherwise, it's sort of that all business gruff. Is that just a cartoon character that doesn't really exist, or are you an anomaly having fun where a lot of senior executives don't?
Well, I think it comes to the culture at TriPointe, Jeff. I mean, we remain very humble, and like you, we're very sports oriented. So we're a big believer, and I'm a big believer in team. And I'm not that great. What we have is 1,400 other team members that are really, really great. And so, what I love to do is move around and be with them and help motivate them and encourage them and see what we're building and meet customers. I mean, one of the things that I do to stay actually connected to customers that I do run by a lot of CEOs that I don't think do it, and they all look at me like you're crazy. But we have Alliant as our customer satisfaction survey, and it's all automated. So every day I get surveys coming in, and what I do at night is I call customers periodically. I'll just call a customer. I'll call up Jeff Shore and say, "Hey, Jeff, hey, this is Doug Bauer, the CEO of TriPointe Group, and I understand you just bought a house in Houston from our Trendmaker brand. And 99% of the time, the homeowner goes, "What's wrong?" And I go, "There's nothing wrong. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for your business. And here's my number. And if you ever have a problem, please call me." And I've been doing that for 30 years. And that's how you stay connected to your customers. You've got to be passionate about it, because guess what? Those customers are putting food on the table for everybody at TriPointe.
It's funny because I think the mistake that a lot of executives make, all up and down the executive rank, but particularly as you get into the higher level executives, is that we only talk to customers when they are like stark raving, fanatically angry at some point. And at that point, by the time it gets to you, there might even be an attorney involved. And if those are the only people that you're going to talk to, after a while, you sort of get to hate your own customers, because every time you talk to them, you get a headache. But the way you're doing it, what happens, it allows you to proactively reach out to people who are not angry. And sometimes I would guess those are where the best lessons about the way that we can do business are going to be found.
Totally. I mean, that is the best way to learn, not only about your customer, but also about your product, and also about your customer service that you're providing in this business. So it's a ton of fun. And listen, they're not all happy, and a few of them, I talk to, and a lot of times then you've got to just be a good listener and listen to them. And think about, if this was your mother, would you want to be treated any differently? So those are the things I always tell our operations people, that if the customer is mad and is disappointed and they get to me, we're going to fix their problem. I mean, this it.
Yeah, but not a lot to be gained by getting into a spat over something that in the long run is probably not going to mean anything. All right, let's talk about sales professionals, because I know you're pro customer, but you're also pro salespeople. And again, this is one of those disciplines that is often seen as a necessary evil. You came out of the banking world. And so, I'm sure you love a good spreadsheet as much as anybody, certainly far more than I can promise you that. But when it comes to understanding your salespeople, you got to look at it from that perspective and say, do I see them as a necessary evil, or are these people that I really want to embrace? And so the question I would ask for you is, if you were starting your own company tomorrow and you had to go out and hire your next great salesperson, what are the key attributes that you'd be looking for?
Well, I've been tutored by one of the best. Again, props to Jeff Shore in this. But over the years that I've been working with you and people like Linda Mamey, who are much more brilliant, beautiful people to work in the sales and marketing arena, the three things that, and these to me are very common sense. I call them sports analogies. But number one, what I would look for is having the DNA, that desire to win, really to be achievement driven. And frankly, that's something that a lot of us have here. So that's number one. Number two, and I'll never forget this from you, is you kind of have positive energy. I mean, I can't have somebody that's going to be Debbie Downer. So you got to have positive energy. And then lastly, and this is something that really resonates why we do so much with you, is you need to be coachable. I mean, this is a trait that all of us need to understand and be aware of. And frankly, that's obviously, you're a big sports guy too. And one of the things that we've always worked with you on is what? The fundamentals of the business. You got to be coachable. You got to continue to work on the fundamentals, whether you're ice skating or playing hockey or you're selling homes or you're doing a triathlon. You got to continue to work on the fundamentals. So being coachable is that last important trait that I would look for in a salesperson.
And there really is a lot of great sports analogy there: achievement drive, positive energy, coachability. When you see that combination, what you end up with those, not those organizations that are great as long as the market is great, or great as long as they're the low price leader. But you see, even in highly competitive environments, this is where you see the legacy built. This is where you see the New England Patriots of the world, right? Those teams that that know how to perform year after year after year. And I know this is really important to you, because for you, it's not enough to have a program if it's not described by way of the team culture, then it just seems to bore you. Did I just put words in your mouth?
You put them, you did, but they're the right words, and that's exactly the culture that we have.
When you're out working with salespeople, or just out there looking at the competition, whatever it is, or even in just your everyday life when you're shopping for a car or a suit or whatever it might be, what drives you nuts in a poor sales performance? What do you just look at and just causes you to shake your head?
And I say this to all our division presidents and operators. The thing that drives me nuts, our new home associates, our salespeople, go a week or max 2 weeks without a sale. I think somebody taught me that if you have 10 people and you got a sale out of one of those 10 people, what about the other 9?
Mm-hmm.
So what drives me nuts is the sales performance of our organizations and our leadership teams to go more than a week or two without. And it's not always price. It's marketing. It's having the right people that are being coachable. It's positioning your product and merchandise right. There's so many levers that you have to pull. But a sales professional should desire to get one sale per week every week of the year. Mm-hmm. That should be their goal. That should be the achievement driven mentality that they have. And so that's what drives me nuts is when, and I was originally out at, I won't mention where, but at one of our tracks, and we were talking to salespeople, like, and our whole leadership team, and we're like, for 4 weeks. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Let's put our heads together. Let's get some energy and positive energy around this and come up with some solutions. And so, anyways, enough said there. That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah, sure. Listen, the only thing worse than having a salesperson that is not performing for multiple weeks is having a salesperson not performing for multiple weeks who is not going absolutely bananas, and over again. That's what drives me crazy. Is it's not that you're sort of not performing. It's just they don't really seem to care. I mean, if I'm the sales professional with that high achievement drive and I'm not selling and I'm doing everything that I think that I can, I'm the one who's pounding my fist on the table. I'm calling everybody in the organization because, as you say, winners got to win. Right? They just absolutely have to. And so there is that acceptance of mediocrity. Boy, you and I are aligned on that one. It just drives me nuts. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's talk about this weird, difficult, misunderstood job called a sales leader, because I've my mind on this, Doug. We've talked about it in the past, and that, in my opinion, a sales executive is one of the most difficult jobs in all of business, and for one particular reason, and that is that on the one hand, we want people who are strategic and analytical and organized. They've got those good short-term problem-solving skills. They're great business people. They can read the markets. They can understand where they are at any given moment in time. Well, we also want people who are outgoing and gregarious and creative and can pep people up and motivate and challenge and just have that really inspirational side. So the workout on both sides of the brain is actually very, very difficult for the sales leader. What advice do you have for sales leaders? And it might be just in terms of what you have seen that where you can connect the dots and say, boy, the sales leaders who do this well, they're the ones who find the greatest success.
Well, just to clarify, I think you and I are talking about sales managers that are
sales managers, sales executives, yeah,
area sales manager executives, and the thing that drives me nuts there is when they spend too much time problem solving, going to meetings. They spend too much time on administrative work. They need to focus in on 3 key things. Number one, and this is. Now, it's something that is at the tip of everybody's tongue after a certain meeting we had in January. But again, that's part of the fundamentals is, number one, they got to focus on lead conversion. They need to be out there focusing with their teams on lead conversion. Then they got to spend time working with people, find people like you on skill development and that coaching, that fundamentals of blocking and tackling. And then lastly, staffing. They should always be searching and looking and talking to all the people. There's never a point where you shouldn't be looking for that next great salesperson that's going to get one a week. I mean, that's something that a sales leader should be doing. Lead conversion, skill development, and staffing. Those are the three things they should be working on. Get them out of the office, get them out of the administration part of this business, and get out there and help sell.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if you had somebody who was really acing those three things, we could support everything else that needed to happen on their job. But if they were acing those three things, they would be miles ahead. Doug, we've known each other a long time, and I've always appreciated your profound passion, not just for the industry, but also for the people and the development of people and the way that you see that team environment. I know you are a long, long way from, like me, from wanting to hang it up. But when you think to the end of your career and you looking backwards, what do you think you'll be most proud of at your retirement dinner some 40 years from now?
40 years. That means I got 10 more years. That's good. Me both. Really, it's funny you mentioned that because a little side story, when the markets were getting all beaten up the second half of last year, and I think I was actually going to Boston about the same time, and my wife called me. We're empty nesters, and she's, got the lab at home, so she's very happy. But she goes, "Do you really need to keep doing this? What keeps driving you? I mean, you're just going through another cycle." I said, "So what? This is what defines great companies from so-so companies." And so when I look back on TriPointe, it's really about the people. I want to see us grow all these people and grow this business so that a lot of families can have a lot of great personal family time because of their successes at TriPointe. This isn't about Doug Bauer or Tom Mitchell or President. This is about the people that run TriPointe. And I'm just very blessed to be involved with all these people. There are so many smart people, and that's what I love to be around for the next. If I've got another 10 years, God willing, I just want to be around all our people. I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. I'm going to Raleigh. I'm going to go to Boston, meet with investors. I'll come back and go to Dallas. I don't like to be here at my desk other than talking to you periodically. But that's what I want to look back on is really the people and the development of this organization. That's where I get the most satisfaction. And I guess at some point, I'll reflect back and say, wow, that was really cool. But listen, I keep looking out the front of the windshield. We got to keep working on our sales and marketing fundamentals. And we greatly appreciate our relationship with you. I know I keep plugging, but this guy is the greatest. Jeff Schmarr, everybody know that. If you want to know the fundamentals of selling, he is the best. So anyways, that's my talk for the day.
Very, very kind. Hey, listen, before we let you go, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. A few rapid fire questions, rapid fire answers. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Your very first job was what?
Picking strawberries.
An album from your youth that you listen to over and over again.
An album? How about a group? U2.
That's fine. Okay, U2. Yeah, we can get behind that. The most beautiful place you've ever stood.
Marlette Lake on my mountain bike.
Oh, very nice. Any book that you read early in life that had a profound impact on the rest of your life?
Oh, man, there's so many good books.
I know, really. It's a tough one, yeah.
I guess I just finished this. I was Audible. Younger Next Year.
Oh, yeah. That's a fantastic book. Yeah. Love it. Yeah.
Us guys in our 50s can be younger each year, and I'm going to be doing triathlons until I'm 80.
That's right. Well, I'm going to be playing ice hockey till I'm 80. So let's hold each other to that. A movie you've seen multiple times. You can't help it when it comes on. You just have to watch it.
Lion King.
All right. And your first celebrity crush.
Who was the actress on Top Gun?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Everybody knows who you're good. That's all you got to say. Everybody knows who you're talking about.
Then again, I like to be Tom Cruise.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Exactly. Yeah, I would have accepted either answer. Okay, you're off the hot seat. Doug Bauer, hey, listen, on behalf of everyone who's involved in the sales discipline, our wildest dream is to work with people who are really passionate about customers and about sales. And I can't thank you enough for your dedication over the years, for what you have taught me personally, always inspiring, but just such a great peek into the mind of a CEO. Thanks for being on the Buyer's Mind, Doug.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, there you have it. And I got to tell you what, I want to just give you a piece of advice here. Think like Doug Bauer. Think like a CEO. Because what would you do if all the results rested on your shoulders? Where would you look? And Doug Bauer, I think he looks at it and he gets it. He says, you know what? Everything resides around sales pace. And if we don't have the pace, we don't have a company. And so he's just there. Murph, the passion for sales there was palpable, was it not?
Yeah, he does get it. I was just amazed at his graciousness to even come on with us as a CEO. He's got lots of things he could do with his time, but he gave us some great insights.
He did indeed, and you could probably tell he's just a really, really good guy. But when I think about it for the sales professionals who are listening to this podcast, when we start thinking like a CEO ourselves, what happens? What happens when we start thinking about how we are the CEO of our own career, the CEO of our own shop? And at that point, it releases the creativity. We start looking at it saying, how can I do this better? And it increases our achievement drive, because if I'm the CEO, I've got to win. It increases the accountability because I need to make sure that I'm pushing the right buttons. It increases even the sense of control that I have over my success. And you can control more than you sometimes think you can. In fact, I'm going to suggest that as a sales professional, you need to take charge of your success. That's what CEOs do. They don't sit around and blame everybody else. They understand the buck stops here. Well, that's what great salespeople do too. Look, you can control more than you sometimes think you can. You can take control of your own success. And when you do that, the benefits are rich and deep, and it's going to make you great. There you have it, another episode of The Buyer's Mind. But if you know that there's a sales conference coming up and you want to have a keynote speaker who is relevant, who understands what goes on in the mind of the buyer, I'm hoping you would think of me. I do a lot of keynote speaking, and I'm booking up my keynote speaking calendar right now. You can go over to jeffshore.com, click on the keynotes page. You can watch a demonstration video right there, and you can get in touch with Bevan Curtis in our office about how you might bring me in to speak at your next sales conference. Until next time, go out there and change someone's world.